Neighbor, you have a part to play. You have a part to play. The time of the text was indeed a very crucial yet uncertain time for the northern kingdom of Israel and for its leader, Joash. He was not a man of God. In fact, the chronicler of this historic volume, whom Talmudic tradition identifies as the prophet Jeremiah, assesses Joash as one who did evil in the sight of the Lord. He followed the idolatrous practices of Jeroboam, the first ruler of the divided northern kingdom, who set up a golden calf in Dan and a golden calf in Bethel and told Israel, "These are your gods." But though Joash was an idolater, he recognized and even appreciated the person and ministry of Elisha, who by the time of our text was well into his 80s and terminally ill. Our text tells us that Joash came to visit Elisha on an errand of kindness and sympathy. What we see in the text is unprecedented in Scripture. I say that because in Scripture, prophets attended kings, but kings did not attend prophets. And when a king visited a prophet's house, it was most likely on an errand of vengeance. But Joash here paid the prophet a parting visit. He wept over the prophet and cried, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof." Joash addressed Elisha in the same manner that Elisha addressed his prophetic mentor Elijah at the moment of his translation. The significance of this appellative rested in Joash's belief that Elisha was the primary defense of Israel and that he was about to be taken from them. You must understand that this was no hyperbolic idiom for the king. He truly believed that the intercession and prayer of Elisha was the only reason that Syria had not completely defeated and subjugated Israel. Joash knew that his army, if you could call it that, was no match for the Syrians. Recall, if you will, that in his father's time, the army of Israel was decimated and nearly destroyed by Hazael, king of Syria. Joash inherited an army of only 10,000 soldiers, 50 horsemen, and 10 chariots. With the loss of Elisha, the king believed that all would be lost. And so Joash got in his chariot and headed west from Samaria to Shunem, to Elisha's house. Consider, he did not go to Bethel to inquire at Jeroboam's golden calf. He didn't travel to Dan to inquire at the shrine of its counterpart. Isn't it amazing that in the time of trouble, even a heathen knows where to go? Don't think about God any other time. But when trouble comes, the first thing out of their mouth is, "Oh my God," or "Lord, have mercy." And the same ones who laugh at you and mock you because you praise and worship and live for the Lord are the first ones to call you when they're in trouble, because they know where to go to get a prayer through. Joash was saying, listen, it is not time for pageantry, it's time for prophecy. This is no time for pomp, this is time for prayer. Oh, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, it's prayer time. In uncertain times, it's prayer time. In dangerous times, that's prayer time. In perilous times, it's prayer time. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, in the times that we live, it's prayer time. When the economy is in upheaval, it is prayer time. When there is strife in the houses of Congress in the great United States, it is prayer time. When jobs are no longer readily available in the Miami Valley, but we have to eat and we have to live, it is prayer time. When everything else is taken from us, we have to recognize that Jesus is our source, and it is prayer time.